What is the state of nuclear energy in Europe today compared to 1986? A lot of countries are still dependent on it.
Yes, absolutely. There are, over half member states, so half the 14 of the 27 member states still use nuclear power, some significantly. So, for example, France has over 70% of its electricity from nuclear. But overall, the number of reactors that are in operation within the EU is declining. So back in 1989, that was the peak in terms of operating reactors. There was 136. And today there is 107. So we're seeing a gradual closure of reactors, which is as they get older, obviously they're being closed, and we're not seeing the construction of new reactors in sufficient numbers to compensate for that.
Your last report into the industry concludes that the case for nuclear power is weaker now than it is for instance, other low carbon emitters. Why exactly is that?
It's a combination of reasons. Two primarily, I think. One is speed of construction. In what you can see again, taking examples in Europe, you have the Olkiluoto reactor in Finland that's under construction. It is now 12 years late and 3 times over budget. So they're not quick to build and they're relatively expensive. So again, nuclear power is more expensive than renewable energies. And in fact, renewable energies are getting cheaper than fossil fuels. And in 2020, for the first time ever in the EU, there was more power coming from renewables than there was from fossil fuels.
And generally, though, nuclear power is promoted as a way to address climate change. Does that case stand up?
It doesn't produce, it doesn't burn fossil fuels. It's fueled by uranium. So in terms of the point of production, we're not getting CO2. There is CO2 associated with the construction of the power stations and the fuel cycle, but it's not on the same scale it is for fossil fuels, but higher than it is for renewables. But in some ways, the key point is that it's what do people want to build in order to decarbonize? And what we're seeing is globally and within the EU that the choice is renewable rather than nuclear.
So what is the long-term future for nuclear energy, do you think?
I think if you look at the forecasts, again, for the EU coming from the European Commission, how do they anticipate meeting the 55% fall in greenhouse gases required by 2030? They see that the role for renewables goes up, maybe up to as far as 65% by 2030. By 2050, it's up to 85%. So if that were to come about, then the role for nuclear diminishes as renewables dominate the energy sector.